Animals are known to be a man's best friend, a companion, and a family member. According to American Pet Products Association's 2017 to 2018 National Pet Owner Survey, approximately 85 million households in the U.S. have a pet. This makes up about 68% of the American population. Out of the 393.3 million pets in these households, about 183.9 million of them are dogs and cats. Compared to the survey taken in 1988, when the households with pets made up about 56% of the American population, there has been a significant increase in pet ownership. Although this increase seems positive, about 6 million dogs and cats are abandoned every year. Many more unwanted animals are simply abandoned to suffer and die on the streets or languish in lonely backyards without companionship, exercise, or in many cases without basic necessities such as food, water, shelter, or veterinary care. On March 18th of 2018, dozens of dead and decaying horses were found on a Hebron farm in Wicomico County, Maryland, where the conditions were so bad, horses were reportedly eating aluminum siding from the house. Officials found as many as 25 horses dead on the 2-acre property. Skeletal remains were scattered across the land while more than 100 other horses roamed around. Sheriff's office said that more than 200 cats were removed from the same property in 1995, and Barbara Pritchard, the owner of the farm, was charged with 100 counts of animal neglect. In another case, over 500 animals were rescued from a farm in Richmond, Virginia, on December 1st of 2017. The animals rescued included goats, emus, sheep, rabbits, chickens, turkeys, peacocks, ducks, cats, and guinea pigs. Many of the animals were in squalid conditions and were neglected to the point of starvation. On February 9th of 2017, Vernon Silver was charged for the death of 21 dogs in Hampton, Virginia. Silver had been found guilty in 4 counts of animal cruelty starting in 2007. In 2014, when Animal Control responded to his home, officers found 16 dogs standing in water, mud, feces, and urine. Although cases like these are rather rare and extreme, animal neglect on smaller scales occur daily. Officers have found companion animals, often chained dogs, frozen to the ground or dead from heat prostration because of the lack of proper shelter. Often these animals perish only feet away from their homes in which their caretakers live. Although chaining dogs is not illegal, dogs who are continually chained are also neglect victims. Because dogs are social pack animals, isolating them at the end of a chain causes them anguish that can drive them to aggression, neurosis, and self-mutilation behaviors. Other cases include breeding. The female mothers are often impregnated over and over again for their children. This is not only a form of neglect, but it also contributes to the companion animal overpopulation crisis, in which there are far too many animals produced compared to the number of people who want them. Not taking a pet to the vet for checkups and to treat illnesses and injuries is also a form of neglect. When illnesses or injuries are left untreated, the animals can experience lifelong health issues that could have been avoided by a simple visit to the vet. Law enforcement officials responding to cases of animal neglect often find various forms of abusive behavior, like child neglect or elder abuse in the same household. This is particularly true in the case of animal hoarding, like the case of the Hebron farm and the Richmond farm, where a person takes in far too many animals that can be cared for and become virtually blind to their suffering. Cats are the most common hoarding victims. The neglect and abuse the animals experience can traumatize the animals, making some difficult to be adopted. In some cases, they die before they are rescued. What are some behaviors that are commonly seen in abused and neglected animals?
I have worked with abused and neglected cats and also know a fair amount about dogs as well. And what I've learned is that the myth that animals live all in the present, that they just enjoy the moment, you often hear that they're so much better than us because they live in the present, is not always true. It seems very clear that they're remembering abuse or neglect in the past. And the reason I say this is because, for example, if you get very excited and in a happy way and move quickly or raise your voice a little bit around such animals, they will often cringe or act in a way that clearly indicates to me that they're remembering something that happened in the past. We've also had cats who were rescued from a homeless situation where they were living on their own out in the wild, and we brought them and socialized them into the house, and they simply never believed there was enough food coming. So even though we clearly dealt with them with kindness and gave them lots of food, they would hoard their food, they would take food as soon as they could get it, as if it would never come again.
Can neglected animals overcome their trauma?
Some animals can recover and bounce back, and you'll never know that they were abused. There's others. We had a dog 2 years ago named Midnight, and Midnight literally was a pancake dog. She would not pull her head up, she would not put her head up, she would not wag her tail, she would not stand up. We had to scoop her up and pick her up and carry her everywhere. She was that just abused and scared and afraid. And we worked with her for months, and we finally found a really great volunteer who fell in love with her and took her home. She's better, but we had to counsel the adopter many times of, you're doing all the right things. This is one of those things, it's gonna take time. We talked about this in the beginning. This isn't in 3 months, your dog's gonna be a different dog. But after a year and a half, and now she goes to dog daycare. So we do help people if they have a special case with something. We don't adopt an animal out and then go, good luck, see you, don't ever call us again. We always want to be a resource. We know them best. We walked them, we took care of them, we nursed them back to health. We befriended them. A lot of our staff will work with these really shy, kind of closed down dogs, shut down dogs, and bring them out of their shell, and let them know that life's okay and it's going to get better.
Adoption of animals has become more common, especially within the past 10 years. Organizations and individuals have worked to promote adoption through social media, websites, and community events. Adoption has saved many pets that would have been euthanized find new loving families. Unfortunately, some neglected animals are harder to be adopted because of their appearances or personalities caused by their previous owners. However, these animals need the care and love like any other pets. The adopted animals are given a second chance through adoption, and many animals give back to their adopters in different ways. How did you find your pet?
We heard about him. He was on a bulletin board in Richmond, and a friend of my daughter saw it and said, well, if Jim's looking for a dog, this might be a really good one. And he went to see the dog and then called back and told Sarah, you need to go up there and get the dog. So we went the next day.
What have you personally gained from adopting a pet?
Well, you feel rewarded because these animals wouldn't have had a nice life without you, so you feel good about that. And every day that they become more comfortable in your house, you feel good about that also. Of course, all the great things that come along with having a pet, like, they just make you feel good when you come home. They're happy to see you, and they love to snuggle up when you're watching TV. It really improves your quality of life to have animals. We love them, and we play with them every day, and we just enjoy their company.
They make us laugh.
They make us laugh a lot.
Would you recommend adopting pets?
Very much so. Very much so.
Yes, I would recommend it highly.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. But there are a lot of responsibilities. So, we have a dog walker that comes when we're not home at a certain time.
When we went on vacation, we had to pay someone to stay in the house.
Yeah, you have to pay for someone to take care of your dogs when you're on vacation. They're expensive when you take them to the vet. But, we love them. We enjoy spending time with them. I'm very happy to have them. So it really depends on, if you have the money to do it is important. And then do you have the time? because if you're working late nights and you can't get home, it's not really fair to the animals that you're never home. So it depends, but for us, it was a good decision.
Adoption is not the only solution. People can donate to organizations, volunteer to take care or transport animals, and continue to spread awareness in order to protect the neglected animals. By learning more about these problems and spreading awareness to more people, the animals who have been silenced will have a bigger audience to hear their suffering and longing for love.